Good evening. Welcome to the regular board meeting of Carpinteria Unified School District. It is October 22nd. Can everybody please rise for the flag salute? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and we are going to move to C2, Oath of Office. Superintendent Diana Rigby, in accordance with California Code, Education Code EDC 5326, will administer the oath of office to the appointees in lieu of election and/or vacant positions to the office of Governing Board of Carpinteria Unified School District to Jamie Diamond and Aaron Smith. EDC 5326 states if by 5 p.m. on the 83rd day prior to the day fixed for the governing board member election, only one person has been nominated for any elective office to be filled at that election, or no one has been nominated for the office, or in the case of members to be elected from the district at large, the number of candidates for governing board member at large does not exceed the number of offices to be filled at that election, or in the case of members to be nominated by a trustee area and elected at large, the number of candidates do not exceed the number required to be elected governing board member at large nominated by that trustee area. Or in the case of members to be elected at large in accordance with sections 5030.5, 5030.6, and 5030.7. No more than one person has been nominated for each membership position, and a petition signed by 10% of the voters or 50 voters, whichever is the smaller number, in the district or trustee area, if elected by trustee area, requesting that a school district election be held for the offices has not been presented to the officer conducting the election. Appointment will be made as prescribed by section 5328. The provisions of this section and section 5328 shall also apply to elections for membership on a county board of education.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I, Jamie Diamond, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last time we did this on Zoom, so
Thank you. Thank you. Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I, Aaron Smith, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to C3, closed session report. We had a conference with labor negotiators. Information was exchanged. No action was taken. And we are now going to move on to public comment for items not on this agenda. So if you have a public comment for anything that is not identified within tonight's agenda, please step up to the podium now and you will have your 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. Good evening. For those who don't know me, my name is Jay Hotchner, and I have and continue to serve as the elected employee union representative, union president, for the last 20 years. Our union, the Carpinteria Association of United School Employees, also known as CAUS, is the only legally authorized representative of district employees. And as usual, this evening's comments are made on behalf of the district faculty and support staff who elected the employee union leadership team to share professional interests, experiences, questions, and concerns. We'd like to provide an update on contract bargaining and the current impasse process, declared and certified by the state this past June. On October 9th, for the first time, union and district leadership joined a state mediator assigned to assist the parties in reaching a mediated agreement. Although confidentiality requirements prohibit union leadership from discussing any actual proposals discussed during the mediation, we are permitted to share details pertaining to the process itself. The first mediation session was far less efficient than it could have been, ensuring that following sessions will be required. And although that's good news for the district's lawyers, who are paid $425 an hour, it's bad news for district personnel and students. Although the parties were scheduled to meet together in person, this did not occur. Superintendent Rigby, who has refused to meet face-to-face with union leadership for over 6.5 years, was true to form. Although union representatives took time away from their students in classrooms to collaboratively work towards a good faith agreement, Ms. Rigby, Mr. Schaefer, and Ms. Diamond all refused to meet face-to-face. These, the very district officials most responsible for demonstrating leadership and professionalism during challenging times. Instead, CUSD and CAUS's bargaining teams remained in different rooms throughout the day, while the state mediator shuttled back and forth between the bargaining partners. During the mediation session, we reviewed contract articles associated with safety, leave, and compensation and benefits in special education. Union leadership continues to stress the importance of the 100-plus employee proposals previously rejected by the district. CAUS remains focused on helping district leaders better understand the relevance of the employees' proposals and the conditions they are designed to improve for employees, students, and their families. Perhaps not a surprise, there was no agreement reached. Therefore, the union continues to encourage the mediator to schedule the next meeting as soon as possible. I'm hoping we're looking at November 12th. In the meantime, the most recent employee proposals submitted prior to declaring impasse can be reviewed at our website, https://cause2216.org. As you review them, please consider how you will make your voices and experiences and interests heard. District leadership routinely asserts that CAUS's bargaining team does not represent the interests of district personnel. We know that this is inaccurate, and we look forward to meeting with employees across the district this week and next.
Thank you. Your time is up. Any further comments for items not on this evening's agenda? Okay, not seeing any. We are going to move on to C5, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 8th, 2024. Any questions from the board? No? Okay. Public comment for C5, approval of minutes from October 8th. Please step up to the podium at this time.
Alrighty, thank you. Let the minutes of the October 8th board meeting show that district officials were reminded that California Senate Bill 553 requires CUSD to include authorized employee representatives when, quote, evaluating and determining corrective safety measures, and that district officials are required to allow CAUS, the sole authorized employee representative, to, quote, participate in monthly safety meetings with district leadership, to work directly with admin, to evaluate and correct workplace violence-related concerns and hazards, and to work with district leadership to design and implement violence prevention and safety training. Let the minutes show that the district did not respond to our public reminder and continues dismissing its legal obligation to collaborate with employee representatives on matters of district safety, the well-being of students, staff, and district families. None of the above occurred. Now, 5 months past the district's legal obligation to do so, the district's failure to work with employee representatives on this matter compels union leadership to pursue legal action to protect this important employee right. Let the minutes show that employee representatives inquired upon 2 consent agenda items, number 2 and 6, at the last meeting. Both items were approved at the last board meeting without any discussion, further research, or inquiry by the school board. These items were not brought before the public prior to approval at the last board meeting, which is required by the Brown Act, the federal law designed to increase and ensure transparency in the governance of this public institution. Consent agenda item number 2 concerned the district's attempts to possibly give favor to religious doctrines, teachings, and organizations that seek to influence and recruit district students, regardless of the religious affiliations of our school board members. That would not be appropriate. Consent agenda item number 6 pertained to public disclosure requirements for district officials, the concern being that public officials may use their positions to influence and secure personal benefit and possibly financial gain on the back of taxpayers' investments in public education. Let the minutes show that employee leadership verbally submitted a California Public Records Act for all records and documents associated with conflicts of interest that pertain to any CUSD administrator, board member, or unrepresented employee as defined by categories 1 through 5 of the 2024 local agency biennial notice. Now, 2 weeks later, district officials have neither recognized the PRA request nor responded to the concerns represented in items 2 and 6. Lastly, let the minutes show that the district has again included employee payroll on October 8th without providing any data on administrative salaries. Even though these administrative salaries remain above state averages, district leadership had given itself 2 salary increases in the last year, while educators and support staff have not received any salary increase in the same period. Thank you.
Any further public comment on approval of the minutes of the meeting from October 8th? Okay, seeing none, may I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. C6, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Any questions from the board? Okay. Public comment on approval of the agenda and consent agenda for this evening. Please step up to the podium now. Thank you.
Thank you again. As previously noted, district officials have a poor track record when it comes to honoring their obligations associated with the Brown Act. The public may be unaware that the Brown Act is not only designed to prevent district officials from coordinating, conspiring, or addressing public business outside of the watchful eyes of engaged community members, but it's also designed to prevent the advancement of public business without transparency. That our school board officials rarely review, discuss, or inquire in depth on the vast majority of agenda items in the consent agenda is itself a concern, but there is another concern. If they are not reviewing, if you are not reviewing and discussing and inquiring at these meetings, where are you doing that? You are not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be discussing these items as a group and these open session items as a group behind closed doors. If you are, to what end are you violating the Brown Act? And if you are not doing that, then when are you reviewing, discussing, or inquiring about these agenda items? Because it's not happening at these meetings. Just as CUSD did at the last board meeting, the vast majority before that one, CUSD again places items on the consent agenda that have not been brought before the public at a previous meeting. This evening, fortunately, there are only 2 consent agenda items. Usually the district officials pack the consent agenda for mass approval without any review, discussion, or inquiry, clearly using the consent agenda to advance a number of items without transparency. You will tell the community that's permitted, and it is not, and it's really only the absence of resources that to guarantee the enforcement of the Brown Act that permits CUSD to take such an approach. Absent the district's violations, employees would otherwise encourage the board to support item 1, the MOU between CUSD and UCSB, MESA, and DCAC. Albeit a significantly watered down version of the MESA program recommended by district faculty, which was dismissed by the board this spring, something is better than nothing. And hopefully one day the MESA program will be expanded to include a more consistent and effective use of the district's investment and employees' time and energy. In regard to this evening's consent agenda, item number 2, most certainly a $180,000 grant sounds like a good idea. That said, the grant comes with a lot of strings attached, and we wonder if the board has read the accompanying 43 pages of requirements that define the CUSD's partnership on this. District employees generally support the grant, but they acknowledge that it is being provided to cover costs in programmatic areas that the district has already made considerable investments just for this year. The stated goal being to improve the mental and emotional well-being of students. Has the school board explored or reviewed how this grant might minimize the need for investments in other areas of, in other programmatic areas? Or is the CUSD expanding its focus on
Thank you. Your
mental and
time is
emotional
up.
well-being of students? Thank you.
Let's see here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Eric?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Sally?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I'm aye.
Wonderful. Okay, and we are now moving on to our student representative report with Angel. Take it away.
Hello, I'm Major Pineda, obviously. This is going to be a pretty big one, but I'm excited to share some upcoming events and good news. This week, our Future Farmers of America FFA program is hosting the annual pumpkin patch for local kindergartners from Aliso, Canalino, Summerlin, and Family School. This tradition is highlighted both for our high school students and our kindergartners who visit. Our culinary arts students have been making some really delicious cookies for all the attendees, and we'd like to thank the California Women for Agriculture, the CWA, for generously donating those pumpkins. Next week on Tuesday, October 29th, is going to be the PSAT, and it will be administered to students from the 10th and 11th grade. Students interested in taking the test will have to pay a $5 fee in the business office with Miss Helen. It's a really good learning experience. You learn a lot from it. I took it both years. Join us on November 7th at 6 p.m. in the gym for our Winter Sports Parent Night. This is a great opportunity for parents to meet their coaches and learn more about the winter sports that CHS provides. Next week is Red Ribbon Week at Carpinteria High School. Students will be pledging to be drug-free during lunch at the Red Ribbon tables. Students will be dressing up every day related to the specific theme of the day. Thursday is a lunchtime rally followed by a door decorating contest. Super fun, amazing time. And finally, we are thrilled to announce that the Carpinteria FFA has been awarded Chapter of the Year for the Ventura section once again. This is not the first time that Carpinteria FFA has had this prestigious award. Congratulations to Ms. Garcia and all the dedicated FFA students and community members. This last part is a part that I personally wanted to add for sports, since I know they're super important for the students, and they really push everything that they got. The fall sports season is winding down, and we send congratulations and bid goodbye to the Carpinteria High School seniors. They push for the playoffs take center stage, where football opened Citrus Coast League play at Channel Islands, and the Warriors spoiled the Raiders' homecoming with a celebration of a score of 42-6. Girls golf maintained their position at third in the Citrus Coast League as they successfully navigate the course at the CB base at Port Hueneme, while cross country is setting the pace at the Waller Park Goose Chase in Santa Maria this past week. Girls tennis won 3 matches last week, including an 11-7 win over Thatcher Toads and a 14-4 win over Hueneme. The Hueneme victory secured the 2024 Citrus Coast League Championship for CHS, so girls tennis joins boys water polo in hanging in the 2024 League Championship banner in the gym. This week, football heads to Nordhoff with a chance to earn the spot in the CIF-SS playoffs. Today is the senior day or senior night for boys water polo and girls tennis, while girls golf will play their last Citrus Coast League match on Wednesday in Ojai. Cross country's elite will travel to Mount San Antonio College course on Friday as a possible preview for a possible trip to the CIF Southern Section prelim race early next month. I want to congratulate all these seniors, all these students who are not only putting the athlete, but they're putting the student and the athlete at the same time. I want to congratulate all of them. This is the good news that I have. This is all the news I want to bring.
Great.
Wonderful, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
And
That
don't
is
don't
awesome.
forget, November 9th, FFA drive-through barbecue.
That's right. There will be an FFA drive-through barbecue. The date might be changed,
Oh, we
but
might be
it's,
changing the date, okay.
it might be looking good. But, really good tri-tip. You want to buy a ticket, contact me, Really fun, really good, and it helps our students out a lot on field
Does.
trips.
Does.
Angel, where can you find the schedule for the schools visiting the pumpkin patch?
That is
I
a-
only saw one of them.
That is a great question. I know that you could contact Ms. Garcia, the head of ag there at
Oh,
the
okay.
school right now. She has all the schedules right now. She's working with them. I believe today we had our first couple of students come in, and I know they had a really fun time.
Okay.
They had some really good cookies. I was so jealous. I was really jealous.
Thank you.
The one thing I would ask you to bring back is remind any of your fellow students that will be of 18 years of age or older before November 5th or by November 5th to vote. This will be, for many, their first election, their first opportunity to vote, and it's important that their voice is heard. So encourage them to register and get out there.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. Okay. Public comment on our student representative report. Please step up to the podium at this time.
Alrighty, thank you. Well, Carp sports teams have been killing it, and the athletes should be proud. Great report on that. The tradition of the FFA pumpkin patch has become a true favorite for the families in the community. I know my daughters, to take out the union hat for just a moment, really loved it, and we have great memories of that in the past. Good luck to the students on the PSAT. Agreed, they are a really great opportunity to get a feel for what is required when taking the SATs. Congratulations, especially Angel, and to the FFA officers. You've once again brought honor and prestige to the district by winning the Chapter of the Year for the Ventura section at the FFA Leadership Conference. And that's a second year in a row, I believe. So, fabulous. And while we're at it, please share our congratulations with your teacher, Ms. Garcia. Her steady hand has been instrumental this year. And I'm not sure if you run into Mr. Lopez or not, but if you run into him at a regional event or somewhere else, before Sal took a teaching job in a nearby district that paid better, he really did a great deal to orient the current FFA in a winning direction. And please let him know that we miss him and appreciate his effort. We hope the students and their families have a real happy and safe Halloween. And yes, Ms. Diamond, thank you very much for reminding those students that can vote that that's an honor and an act of citizenship that they will likely not regret. So great, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Angel. Again, a great report. Appreciate you. Again, I'd like to begin with appreciation. I'd like to recognize our mental health team members at each school site. We have school psychologists, school counselors, CADA and FSA mental health therapists, and family social workers who work hard every day to support students' social emotional learning and their families. And again, we offer congratulations to the CHS FFA officers who attended the FFA Leadership Conference in Hollister this past weekend. And as you heard, they were awarded the Chapter of the Year for the Ventura section for a second year in a row. Congratulations. Digital Citizenship Week is this week. Common Sense Media provides free resources to our teachers to help students navigate the digital world in safe, productive, and healthy ways. Last week, October 17th, was the Great Shakeout. Our schools participated in the International Shakeout Day on October 17th, with millions of people worldwide participating in earthquake safety. Our schools follow the K-12 Standard Response Protocol, sheltering for an earthquake. Again, National Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through the 31st. The National Red Ribbon Week theme is Life is a Movie, Film Drug-Free, serving as a powerful reminder that ordinary Americans nationwide contribute significantly to their communities every day by embracing a drug-free lifestyle. CUSD students are participating in school activities designed to increase drug prevention awareness. Those activities are led by ASB and Student Council student leaders. School attendance. During the 23-24 school year, CUSD preliminary data shows that approximately 17.8% of students were chronically absent. They missed more than 18 school days, which, although is unacceptable, is still an improvement over the last 2 years. Chronic absenteeism significantly affects academic achievement, and with 3 or more unexcused absences or tardies, a truancy letter is emailed to parents to schedule a meeting with school site administrators and counselors to discuss school attendance improvement efforts. It's particularly important that we involve the parents because our absentee rate is higher among elementary students, which is directly related to parent efforts. October 31st and November 1st celebrations. School sites will celebrate Halloween with costumes and parades. Canalino will set up altares and ofrendas in the cafeteria to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. Aliso will sponsor their annual trunk or treat, and our 6K classes will be hosted by CHS CTE Ag students at the CHS Pumpkin Patch. CMS will hold a Halloween school dance on November 1st, 5 to 7 p.m. Carpinteria Education Foundation. Don't forget, Carpa Cabuna will be held this Saturday, October 26th, 5 to 9 p.m. with cocktails, dinner, and a live auction to benefit CUSD libraries. Westerly Orchids is thrilled to announce that from October 21st to October 26th, they are pledging 100% of weekly retail shop proceeds to local Carpinteria Education Foundation. Westerly Orchids raised a total of $21,335 last year, and they are hoping to match that for this year's fundraiser to help our CUSD students. And our last item is progress on the Measure U projects. The Canalino Learning Center project has completed all concrete flat work and planter walls. Off-site fabrication of the library's casework has been completed, and the first of 3 deliveries has been made and installation started. Fixed seating fabrication is nearing completion, with delivery scheduled for later this week. Landscaping will begin in the week of October 28th. For the Aliso TK Kindergarten Classroom Project, their design team continues to work on the construction documents. They're hoping to complete those documents in December, and the DSA submittal is scheduled for January 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Okay, public comment on our superintendent's report. Actually, I have a comment. I'm very excited for a dance at the middle school.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming, and so very excited for that. And since you brought up Carpa Cabuna, there are still tickets available. And this year, I believe it is to help fund the libraries at our school sites. So that is a huge part of a resource that our teachers use and rely on, that our students use and rely on. And if you haven't been before, it's really fun. You get to dress up. You get to have really yummy desserts. Unfortunately, no coconut cake from what I hear this year. But it's going to be good. It'll be fun. And most importantly, it will support our kids. Okay, now public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Rigby. There was a lot there. We only have an opportunity to focus on 1 or 2 items with the 3-minute limit. But regarding the 2024 National Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through 31st, and the CUSD's promotion of a drug-free lifestyle, quote, drug-free lifestyle, it is always, and we just have to remind you in the community, it's always a bit ironic to hear our superintendent and district officials who, a few of you who so thoroughly and publicly supported the extraordinary increase of cannabis production in our community, up to and well beyond the legal boundaries around our district schools, pump the concept of a drug-free lifestyle. Some of you are the very same officials who also hired the local cannabis industry's notorious marketing firm to spin the CUSD's reputation on this issue. While those same district officials, again, several of you before us, looked the other way when the financial contributions from the cannabis growers were being provided under the guise of altogether different community organizations. While student drug usage is actually up as reported in the Healthy Kids surveys, as reported by district families, employees, and students themselves, Do you really believe that the community is taking you seriously on this issue? You have lost a tremendous amount of credibility on this, and maybe there's something more we can do than put out a feel-good statement in the superintendent's report. Regarding the superintendent's appreciation, it points out an area that CUSD has invested a considerable sum of money in. School psychologists, counselors, CATA and FSA mental health therapists, and family social workers for supporting students' social emotional learning and their families. A good objective. Employees generally support this investment and also appreciate the professional contribution made by our counselors and the mental health therapist partners and participating social workers. That said, there has also been recognition that district counselors and psychologists, like instructional aides, are far too often being pulled from their duties, the duties they were hired to perform, working directly with kids to stand in as teachers or quasi-administrators in school site environments where administrative decision-making has been undermining school efficacy. And if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about with that, one example would be the chaos and dysfunction in Room 6 at Catalino School and in the SPED program in general. Now 2 months ongoing, it's not only creating significant disruptions for the students in Room 6 and classrooms in close proximity, but it's also sucking critical resources from other areas of the school site each and every day. Catalino's counselors and school psychologists and their instructional aid counterparts are being pulled from their routine duties and classes, often without any warning, to cover the absence of a permanent credentialed SPED teacher in Room 6. Just yesterday, as was the case last week, another class with over 40% special education population, was just notified that their instructional aide has been reassigned to Room 6 with no replacement in her place.
Thank you. Your
Thank
time
you.
is up. I'm sorry, I just need to check something. We have somebody in Room 6.
We met her during the
Yeah.
school tours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's completely inaccurate.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. E3, Carpinteria Middle School Art and Mathematics presentation. We have middle school principal, Jamie Pursoon. She's going to come and talk to us about art and math at CMS, and I'm so excited to see some faces that I haven't seen in a while. So, welcome.
Very exciting to be here. We want to celebrate all the things that are happening at the middle school. And I just wanted to say that I was Angel's principal, and then the same as Sally was my principal. So I've been here for a while. We're starting with Jennifer Foster about math, and I met Jennifer Foster when we did Science Matters kind of a long time ago. So I've admired her for a long time, and I'm thrilled to be working with her at CMS. So I'll come back after her.
All right. Thank you. Which clicker do I use? All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about Carpinteria Middle School mathematics. I also had Angel as a student and many of your children also. So my name is Jennifer Foster. I'm the math department chair. I've been teaching at Carpinteria Middle School. This is my 30th year teaching at the middle school. I love middle school students. I'm still there. I still love my job. So anyway, thank you for this opportunity. All right, so I have...
My favorite class, and there's so many different ways to do math, like PEMDAS and long division. And also she gives us so many cool assignments like jokes, pixel art, and other stuff. It's really fun.
So that's one of our new 6th grade students who's been at Carpinteria Middle School, Ethan, since August. And I thought I'd start the presentation with him and talking about what he's so excited about math this year. So a little bit about our math department. There is basically 4 members: Miss Ellis, myself, Miss Hernandez, and Mrs. Hochner. We also have been having Mr. M, who is our new special education math teacher. He also comes in to our PLCs. So we're lucky here at Carpinteria Middle School. We have early release every Wednesday. And except for the first Wednesday of the month, we have a staff meeting. We meet as a whole department. So as we're meeting as a whole department from 1:15 to 3, we have an opportunity to talk about a whole bunch of different things related to student learning. So We collaborate on our lesson plans. We also look at and design formative assessments together. So each sixth grade student, seventh grade student, eighth grade students are all taking the same assessments. So as we are taking those assessments, we come together as a department. We talk about how they did, what do they still need to learn, how should we change our curriculum to make it better? And we're doing this over time. So we're using the same types of assessments, and we can look back over time to see how our kids are growing in mathematics. Okay? So because also we can sit as a whole department looking at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we're able to have a really nice transition so that they understand, the students understand, and the teachers understand where they've been and where they're going. So that's also very positive. Okay? So that's all talking about what I just said. I just figured I'd talk. Anyway, okay, so we all know that in math, student engagement is extremely important, okay? And we all recognize that traditional worksheets are not the most engaging for all students. So the math department has come up with these different types of activities that help our supplementary resources that we're using in our curriculum throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. All right, so the first one is IXL. And I know you guys just purchased IXL for us. It's an adaptive learning platform to offers personalized practice and feedback to the students. Okay? We are asking all of our students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to complete 2 lessons in Dreambox with a proficiency level or SMART score of 80. So there's 2 different ways the students can pick any lesson they want to. They can either choose a lesson that a teacher has starred for them, and that's a lesson that they have already were working on in the class to help reinforce that concept, or they can pick something that the benchmark test has assigned to them that they need to go back and relearn. Okay? So when the students use IXL, they also have an opportunity to view a video if they're not understanding. It gives them automatic feedback if they're getting the answers right or wrong and the concepts right or wrong. It does read to them. It offers different languages such as Spanish. So it's a really fabulous tool. Okay? Let me keep on going. So we have leaderboards for each class to help them engage like the competitive nature. We're asking them to be doing 2 lessons each week to be proficient at 80%. And they can do more if they want to, and if they do, they can get higher on that leaderboard. We can also do group jams in the classroom where we're assigning a different skill, and then we can monitor their progress. Okay? A part of IXL, teachers get weekly reports on the lessons that they've been doing as their class, how many questions they've answered correctly, how much time on task, and how many skills are proficient. Then for individual students on the right-hand side, that's an example of all the skills that a student has been working over on since the beginning of the year. And it will go by 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and this was an example of a 7th grade student. Okay? I really like IXL because you can really hone in on a skill, and IXL is a K-12 program. I really think it'd be beneficial to the lower grades, but that's not my choice, but I really, really like this program. Okay? All right, we also have escape rooms where students are asked to work together in teams or pairs where they try to solve math-based puzzles in order to get through and escape. The kids really find this engaging because they all want to escape the room, but they're still doing lots of math in order to do that. Okay? We also have pixel arts, whereas that's an example of a pixel art and students working on a pixel art. When you put the answer in there, where they're working on a problem, it will turn green when it's correct, or red if it's incorrect, the students have to try again. Okay? We also do different math games in the classroom. So here are some examples. Ms. Hernandez and I did a vocabulary game where we're working on algebraic terms with them. And they were holding them up, very engaging for that too. And then we also do some math games on the computer, okay? We also have some student-created math games, and these are examples of our 6th grade math game boards, where students would have to come up with 20 math questions from the whole school year and 20 vocabulary words from the whole school year, and they make it with their own theme. And then at the end, everyone gets to play their own games to help review everything that we've learned. Okay. We also use Mars, which is a website that has very high quality tasks for the students based on different concepts. And the students can work together and talk about why they think these answers work and reinforcing a different skill. Okay. Let's see what else. We also do hands-on equations. And this is like a very good intuitive balance where they're actually solving two-step equations, but they're doing with pawns and number cubes to really understand why you have to do or why you have to solve an equation a certain way. Okay. We also use Quizzy, and this is another program that the district does purchase for us. It's also a learning program, and there is a video there, but there's no sound. Okay. There's no sound on this one. So it's just showing all the students that are engaged working on this platform. And the good thing about Quizzies is that they have now an IA component. They also offer accommodations, both as a class and individual, so we can use it for our students with IEPs. It also provides detailed class data based on what the students know and what they don't know, and it's also monitoring their progress over time, okay? So that's really fun. The kids really like those. We'll go. Maybe you need to do it. Oh, go back. Okay. GimKit is another type of computer game. GimKit is different than Quizzies because they have different type of fun games for them to do. Like you can do Battle Boss where you try to answer questions for one student based against the whole class. You can put them into two groups. You can have them try to earn the most money. So when they're earning money, they get really excited if they get the question answered. So you can see one of my former students very excited about earning $1,000. We also do the group projects and posters. So if you look on the left-hand side, we do castles, where in 7th grade they're building castles for area and volume of composite figures. And then we do, let's see, nets and surface area for 6th graders along the bottom. We also compare and do a fuel economy project in 7th grade where they are looking at two different cars to see which one gets the better gas mileage in our proportions unit. And then we also do like an end of the unit bingo game. All right. So this last summer, I've been a part of the UCSB math project. I'm part of the leadership cadre. I was able to go to their conference in June. And then we had our follow-up just last week. In this, we're getting together as a group from UCSB talking about math. How can we make it better for all students to learn? How can we work on problem solving and so forth? We also do classroom visits to see math in action at other schools. And we were lucky, Carpinteria Middle School was lucky enough to have some teachers come in and observe my classroom. And this was on September 24th. And they basically had a task where they had to move the blue cubes to the opposite side and the red cubes on the opposite side in the least amount of steps. Okay? So a lot of middle school students, I know we have a student here that's going to talk about math, but they weren't really interested in coming and talking about math. So we videotaped some students talking about math. There's a group of 7th grade girls and a group of 8th grade girls talking about their experience.
I enjoy math a lot because I get to collaborate with lots of other people and
working together on pixel arts and skate rooms.
I enjoy math because there's always one right answer and there's so many ways to know the answer.
The math game board was the like problems where you have to put down cards and different terms and.
My favorite math activity was the 6th grade math game boards.
Yes, because I studied and I went to the after school tutoring and the teachers really helped me.
I think that I have improved my math skills since coming to CMS, and the teachers do a really good job.
So the group of 7th grade girls, they really came to math tutoring pretty regularly. And I'm so happy that we were able to find some funding to continue to have tutoring after school. It's a little bit pared down than it was last year, but we're doing 2 days of math and science tutoring for all grades. And then language arts is 1 day a week, and then ELD is also 1 day. So I'm glad. We have funding through, I believe, December. So hopefully we're going to find some funding so we can continue on with tutoring after school. Okay. So Orion is here, who wants to talk a little bit about math.
Hi, I'm Orion and I go to the middle school. And I do think math is very, very fun because, like Miss Foster said, there are all those fun activities like the pixel art, IXL, GimKit, and all of those. It's like very good because you get to do game boards in like the 6th grade. 7th grade, like she said, we are going to be able to do those castles. And it will be very fun. It's very interactive. And you get to work with your fellow peers about all the different things.
All right. Well, thank you, Orion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Orion. And then my last slide, if I can get it. Oh, just one more. We watched the video. There you go. There's our mathematicians at CMS.
Cool.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for this opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Tina.
much. Any
I
comments?
have a couple questions.
Oh,
Okay, we can go at the end.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it all at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the clicker.
All right, that was wonderful, Mrs. Foster. I wish you were my math teacher. We have such great math teachers at CMS, and they make everyone feel comfortable and encourage them. So tonight, I'm Ryan Ethington, and I'm going to talk about the art teacher. Sorry, I'm looking at my slides here. Let me start over. Well, I was actually going to let Orion speak first, actually, because Orion, I told him that I was going to speak at the board meeting and if he wanted to talk about art. And he even told Miss Foster, I'm going to talk about art. If you want me to talk about math, I'll do that too. So he's so brave and just a wonderful 7th grade student. So, and he even brought some artwork to share with us. So I'm going to let Orion take over to start and go ahead and talk about his projects.
Okay, so I do have some of the 7th grade projects and 6th grade projects that I have done in the past. So far, some of my favorites from this year is we got to do like avocados, which was really fun. And we got to make like boxes of food, but like you mix them with another brand, so I chose the Dodgers. And then we got to do oil pastel eyes, like animal eyes. And we got to make stamps like that. And another one of my favorites is, you know those scratch art things? We got to make images out of scratch art, like this, which is really fun and cool. And I'm in the advanced art, so we get a little more challenging art and the projects sooner. And they're all really fun. And I do think you all should continue funding the art program, because we get to learn about different cultures of art and stuff like that. And in my family, we're really big on like all different sorts of the arts. Like I play the drums personally, which is really fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Orion. That's wonderful.
Great job. Thank you so much for sharing your projects. I asked Orion if he wanted to review or talk with me about what he was going to share. He said, no, I got this. I'm going to share my projects. And I said, okay, great. So thank you so much. Appreciate you coming tonight. All right. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about project-based learning, social emotional intelligence, critical thinking strategies, and AI in the art room this year as well, too. So again, my name is Ryan Ethington. I'm the art teacher at the middle school. And so recently we had 3 students whose artwork were featured in a mental health art show at the Linda Fairley Carpinteria Art Center. And so those students were Amelia Shaw, Amaya Curlow, and Caroline Cooney as well too. So we just wanted to congratulate them on their artwork being shown there. And we appreciate so much the Art Center, who's been so supportive of the middle school and helping us to show our artwork publicly. We've participated in art shows with AHA, as you see here in the photos at the Art Center, also the Carpinteria Women's Club art show, and the mental health art show I mentioned as well too. And I'm sure we'll have many more art shows there this school year as well too. And we've also had some very successful art shows for our open house as well too. So if you, when you see open houses coming by, come on in and check out our artwork. We are always hanging beautiful artwork like Orion showed in our hallways as well too. So we hope you come by and check out our artwork. And before I move on, I just really want to thank the Art Center and the staff there for always supporting us to show our artwork publicly, which is important in our project-based learning. We really want to exhibit our artworks as well too. Here we have some students working on our recent fall painting. And we started this painting when it was just so hot too still. And I told the students, hey, we're gonna start focusing on fall. Let's manifest some fall weather too. And I think it happened because of their painting. So anyway, so there's some of the students' fabulous fall colors and paintings they made. And here we have a couple students as well. Orion's in their picture again, and Adriel working on their mosaic collage. Some students in action here. So social emotional learning, we've been focusing with AHA for 10 weeks on every Friday. We will focus specifically on social emotional learning, and we'll do art projects with it. We'll do fun games, but I've really seen the students grow in cognitive areas, emotional areas, and even their social benefits to it as well too. We see them in their problem solving improve, in their art making. We see their emotional side, and they're able to express themselves through art emotionally by learning more about emotions. And we also even see the students learn to collaborate better and have one understanding of each other improve all through the AHA and art combination that we've been doing the last couple of years. Here's an example of a project that we incorporated social emotional learning and art together. And this is on display in our hallway there. And you can see up close some of the wonderful photos of the students that did self-portraits, learning about abstraction and how to be expressive in their own essence that they wanted to create using abstract principles as well as color theory and looking at their emotions as well too. And here's a couple more. We got Orion featured there too. I think you can recognize him on the left. And I wanted to speak also about AI in the art room. We've been learning about AI, and we've had some great staff professional developments as well too recently, where that's given me a chance to learn new tools that I wasn't aware of. And so I'm using all kinds of tools in the art room, including ChatGPT, Conmigo, Canva AI tools, even a app that we learned about in our last professional development called Brisk, Gamma, and even Magic School AI. You can see the middle picture here is an example of a collage project we did. And the goal was for the students to create a collage that was a self-portrait without using a picture of themselves. And so they actually used the Canva AI tools to learn how to write prompts and create an image that represented them. So I think this image might have been a rainbow raccoon with unicorn, like a raccoonicorn or something there. So I think it was really creative the way the student put together their prompts and created their collage using the AI tools to generate the image. Likewise, though, we can even take our traditional images like the avocado paintings, and we can tell ChatGPT to use a rubric that the teachers provided and to give them a critique of their artworks as well too, and so they can get some personal feedback specific about their own artwork by generating an image of it and uploading that to the AI program as well too. And some other ways, recently, just this week, we've been finishing up our package design, as Orion was talking about as well too. Now, I've done this project for several years, and the students always ask me, can we do that project again? A lot of times we'll take candy, because it's so exciting. It's colorful pictures of the packages, like the Swedish fish you see here on the left. And I always present the project to the students that I want you to actually not copy a package, but I want you to make your own and maybe redesign it into something that looks like it's healthy. And I show them videos of how they can maybe reimagine a treat as a health food instead. And they started telling me this year, well, I don't want to do that because that's boring. I want to copy it because that's more exciting. The health food packaging is browns and earth tones, and it's boring. And I was like, okay. So we used AI, and we had the same AI prompt was to create a Swedish fish, but we asked it to use the theme of Carpinteria to make a fish and put it in the shape of an avocado. So we then created packages based on merging several ideas together. And that's what creativity is really about, remixing ideas, right? And creating something new that hasn't been thought of before by remixing ideas. And so these are just like a few of the ways that some of the students have been brainstorming, generating new ideas, creating color theory or thumbnails, and even kind of critiquing their own artworks as well too, using AI tools in the art room. And here's a couple of students who also did their oil pastel recently, and a couple more here. Oops, I went too far. We'll go back there as well too. So I wanted to actually wrap up by talking about another app we often use in the art room. And it's called Art Sonia. It's a free app website that allows us to have digital portfolios of our students' artwork. It's very challenging as the art teacher. Sometimes I ask the students to take home their projects after school, and I'm hoping they get home in their backpacks and end up on the refrigerator or on a bulletin board where their parents can show them they're proud of it. However, I know sometimes that's really challenging, and I love the fact that they're creating these digital portfolios where they're creating an image with a photograph, using an iPad in class, taking a photograph of their project as they finish. They also get the chance to write about their project, give it a title and a description and an art statement. And on top of that, it right away emails their parent the photo of their art project as well too. Their parents then can also leave comments and tell them what a great job they're doing as well on their projects. And I love to see that. Along with that, it does have a component where it allows the parents to order keepsakes as well of their projects, like a keychain or a mug with their students' artwork on it. And I have had a student who ordered a shirt with their project on it and showed everyone, and we were so proud of him for doing that and wearing the shirt to school. It was a lot of fun. So those are some of the updates, and I just definitely want to thank the board, the parents and admin, all for just being so supportive of the arts in our community, and continue to do so. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
So Mr. Anderson and I are really thrilled to be at the middle school, and you can see we have some stellar teachers showing off what they are doing with our students. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knows who Mr. Anderson is.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James Anderson, assistant principal at the middle school. I've been very welcomed to the Carpinteria community. I live in Ojai with my wife and Kat. We really enjoy forming relationships of trust with students that are really struggling. First week, we had students that, weren't getting to class on time. Who are you? And now we can get them to class, every once in a while with, some humor, a little inside joke, a little handshake. So we have immense responsibility of working with our young people. Not all of our young people are fortunate to have positive adults in their lives. I take that very, very seriously, and each and every day, Dr. Pursuit and I are, in the trenches, working hard to make a difference, to make an impact, and we see it each and every day. And every single day I look forward to going to work, and we have just a lot of fun with the students. Again, we have our first middle school dance on Friday, November 1st in the new gym from 5 to 7. We'd love to have you all there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
We're also really
A formal
excited.
invitation?
Pardon?
Chaperones needed.
We are also really excited about the parent engagement that is happening now at the Carpinteria Middle School. We have probably 2 to 4 to sometimes 6 parents coming at lunch. So we're able to do pickleball, tennis, flag football, volleyball indoor and outdoor, basketball indoor and outdoor, goggle ball. So I believe we would say about 75% of students are participating in sports during lunch, which has really helped with behavior at school and engagement. And then we have had hardly any issues with cell phones. So the board policy has been working for us. It has gotten better, much better over the weeks as we've been going through. So we are seeing a lot of smaller wins. The negative behavior is declining pretty rapidly now. And we are just really supported by you, the board, and also our staff. We just have really an exceptional staff and a parent group that is really helping us out. Do you have any questions to us?
Anybody?
I had a couple for Ms. Foster. Maybe not questions, as maybe comments or discussion. So is part of the, are we incorporating any like economics into math at the middle school level? Like doing, just basic finance, economics, like personal finance stuff?
Finance is not necessarily a content standard, right?
Yeah.
So we don't do I'm thinking back to when my mom taught consumer math at Buena High School, where they teach them how to write a check and balance a checkbook and so forth. We don't necessarily do that, but we do the fuel economy projects in everyday life. A lot of word problems with everyday life, like I just did one today on another one on gasoline, which one would be the better gas station to buy gas at, and how much would you save type stuff. We do more of that type of.
Yeah, I was just thinking, just after having 3 children that have gone through the system and how there's engagement, getting kids engaged into a subject that they might not be interested in, and almost every student is interested in money or having things, and I was just thinking if we could incorporate some aspect into how learning these skills in math is going to help you be able to manage your personal finances, your future finances. I know that's slightly more advanced. That maybe I know they're touching on it at the high school level, but just to keep I guess that should have been my first question. How's the level of engagement in math now? I mean, are you having this?
I am seeing more engagement in math, more time on task. Using all of these different tools. If the one thing that happened with COVID, it really helped us learn a lot more about these technology tools, and we're using it more so that the kids are playing games and so forth, and they're doing some higher level math, but they don't think they're doing higher level math because it's more game oriented.
Yeah.
Right? We have only so much time, and we have so many standards that we're supposed to get through for the state testing that you kind of need to balance, because we only have 50 minutes of class period per day to really work on
Yeah, I know,
math.
it's a fine,
So it's a fine line
juggling act.
to do that. But whenever you can bring in money into it, the kids are more engaged.
Yeah.
Type stuff. What's sad about that, and maybe we need to talk to elementary schools, the counting of the money, like a nickel is 5 cents and a dime is 10 cents. And
Yeah.
if you have 4 quarters, that's $1. That seems to be challenging for some
Those
students.
skills have gotten forgotten or lost or never learned.
Because they're not counting the actual change,
Yeah.
you know?
So I know that or as I recall, I shouldn't say I know, I recall, at some point in the second semester, the departments from middle school will kind of converse a little bit with
Elementary
school.
We usually do that. Last year we didn't do that, but
Okay.
usually we do that in like April or May.
Yeah. So that would be a great time to bring up things like that. And that could be easily incorporated again as a game, if you will, with big money. You know, I know I'm oversimplifying, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think that's a great example of the importance of having those kind of meetings and the opportunity to confer with
Right. And
the grades below as well as the grades above.
And as a math teacher, I'm constantly bringing up, okay, I go to the grocery store, I ask the deli, I only want 1/4 of a pound. And they're like, okay, 1/4 of a pound, 0.25. Yes, 0.25. But the deli people give me 0.5, 0.6. No, 1/4 of a pound, 1/4 of a pound. 0.25, you're giving me double what I want. And I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste food. So, I try to instill in the students that that's important, that they know those certain constant, easily facts, right?
The terminology and the way it shifts throughout.
Yeah, but they know that a 1/4 is the same as 0.25, is basically the same as 25%.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Before I go, anybody else have any math comments?
No.
Okay. Hang on. Okay. I really love how you touched on the fact that you look through a time series of assessments and make small adjustments over time. And I know, and then you also brought up the fact that you have so many standards you have to get through for testing, not your testing of your assessments of students, but
No,
state
state testing.
testing, which just grinds me that's like so much time is spent on that necessarily. The everyday things that you would, if that wasn't there, the things that you would be working on. And the idea of, with IXL, and I've looked up what our invoice or our agreement was with them at the beginning of the school year was for 6th through 8th grade. It was between the program for that grouping as well as, I believe, some PD for you guys,
And it's
training.
it's also language arts too.
Yeah,
So
it was
IXL is being used in language arts classes also, along with math.
which would be really cool. So
And
it was
they
about
are.
$8,000 for like that program. I'm wondering if it's possible, what type of like prorate pricing we could get to expand this K-12. And is this something? Well, I guess I should start with: is this something that K-5 would want and 9-12 would want?
The high school already uses it.
The high school does
they
have
were
it.
the
That's
first-
right. Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
they were the
They had
first
it
users.
beforehand.
And
Okay.
the elementary school has chosen something else at this point.
Because what I see as an opportunity, as we're saying, this time series of assessments, if IXL has this ability to assess kids and keep kind of a track record of them through time, if we're starting this in kindergarten and we could have it go all the way through 12, it would follow them no matter whether there's staff changes or anything like that. It would follow the student's history much more accurately, and be able to understand where that particular student is at in their math journey. And I think that could be an incredibly valuable tool.
It's something that the elementary school teachers, like, I don't know what program they use, is something that they should do box. But see, we have
Dreambox is
used
with that.
Dreambox, and we were told we had to choose between IXL and Dreambox, and so we chose to go ahead and let's try IXL because you could do more targeted instruction. We were finding, though, that a lot of the kids weren't necessarily always doing Dreambox a lot. And at middle school, I know the students more students are reaching the goal of doing 80% proficient with two lessons in IXL than they were in Dreambox. So, it's just something that you should consider. I know a math teacher was very disappointed that we didn't do Dreambox this year, but it was just so expensive, and if we had to choose one, we wanted to try IXL.
And then just a question. You mentioned that IXL allows you to input specific accommodations for a student, but then you also said for a class. So what would that look like, accommodations for a class? Or maybe I misheard you.
Well,
Sorry.
you can, I'm just saying you can do both.
Gotcha.
So like I know that in my class, in my Math 6 class, I have a wide variety of readers, right? That are below grade level, some are above grade level. So you can turn on an adaptation where it will read the question to the student. So I have that on for all of my students, so if they choose to at home, it will read everything to them. It will read the explanation, it will read the problem if we're doing word problems. So I have that on for everybody, okay?
Which totally makes sense, especially because not everybody does the visual. They need to hear it,
Exactly.
see it, do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that type of thing.
That's what I was like, what is a class? And that's a great example of a class
And I know in
accommodation.
Quizzes, Quizzes is another program that, we pay for, and that one has different, and Ms. Hernandez is here too, different types of accommodations such as shortening time, shortening questions with the amount of questions that you have, choices, some dyslexic, different types of accommodations you can do too for students with those. Interesting. And changes language. It changes the colors. So you can do, in Quizzes, there's a lot of accommodations you can do. And that's something new that they just added at the end of last year.
Sorry, you said languages, so like it could be in Spanish instead of just English. So for our DLI
Yeah, so for like 6 of my
or
students, they
ESL.
get it in Spanish. And I have it so that instead of 4 questions possible, they get 2.
Instead of 4 choices, they get 2.
Yeah.
Type thing. Same thing, you can also change the language in IXL2, that it will do Spanish also for students. Okay?
Thank you.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate that.
Before you sit down, Jennifer, I would like to publicly recognize you for how well you've prepared the students for those state tests. So we know that in Carpinteria Unified, the middle school, the students outscore the state and the county.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Yes. And also, your top students, they perform at the very, very top. So I congratulate you and your whole mathematics department.
Yes.
And this has been going on for several years. So great work, keep it up, and we're really proud. Our students are excelling.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And just as an example, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Carpinteria High School had 15 students got admitted to Cal Poly this year out of a small little high school like Carpinteria. So that's the unprecedented number of students. And they're all, just about every one of them was getting into, an engineering program and an ag science or a science program. And I think we could attribute a lot of that to the preliminary work that you're doing at the middle school that transfers into the high school level. And
Because you have to build that foundation. It's so important to get it built. And so even though when you look at the test scores, 6th grade test scores are not always the best compared to 7th and 8th grade, but I look at it as we're trying to get them growing, like more students are proficient and we're growing over time type
Yeah.
thing. So, and Cal Poly's hard to get into. I
It
know, I was a
is.
graduate of Cal Poly, and it's not an easy school to get
no,
into.
it's
That's-
one of the hardest schools to get into. And for Carpinteria, they have, a graduating class of 140 students to have, basically more than 10% get admitted to Cal Poly is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
And amongst all these other schools that they're getting into in science and math-oriented fields. So.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ryan would like to say
Oh,
something.
okay. Orion.
Also, I do feel like it is a little bit of a challenge to work with Dreambox because they have some random buttons that some of us are not really good with computers, and it just doesn't work as well as iExcel.
Okay.
Great. That's
Thank
good
you.
to
Good
know.
feedback.
Thank you.
I know in the elementary schools, I know I'm talking a lot about Excel, but you did spend a lot of money on it. When I went to a training last year with Ms. Hernandez again, my partner in crime, and thank you so much for helping me create the slides, Ms. Hernandez. It does have a different feel at the elementary school. They have a lot more games that related to different topics. I wish they had games for middle school too, because the middle schoolers still really like games. They don't, but that was something that was really, I thought would be really fun for the elementary school students. So,
Great.
anyway.
Thank you.
What's also great about iExcel is you can do like a general benchmark diagnostic. So you can see, okay, my students do really well at multiplying and dividing fractions, but they totally bomb at decimals. So we need to go back and reteach decimals. It also helps us for data collection. So we are currently looking at a special education student that's doing really, really well that might go into general education math, and we can use iExcel as a diagnostic to see, are they truly at grade level? Are they ready so that when they get into general education math, they're prepared and they're not floundering or overwhelmed?
Yeah.
And just to remember, iExcel is also for ELA. So the ELA teachers are also using iExcel. I'm pretty sure they're doing 2 lessons a week, each in language arts also. Right. Okay?
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank
I would just
you.
like to say, while you're all still here, I think, as Angie says, that for this small town, with your leadership, you 2 brand-new leaders, and the other teams, I think we are going to have almost immediately an exceptional middle school. And Mr. Effington, I mean, you're an exceptional art teacher. I've never come across an art teacher that does all the things that you do. It's not just art. You're teaching all kinds of things. And B was one of my aides at Canlino, and you've come a long way. So congratulations to all of you. We all expect great things from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
You'll
I'm just
do it.
going to switch to art real quick. Sorry. I know this is taking a while, but there was a lot, and it deserves a lot. AI and art, I actually recently tried using the Canva AI to cartoon. It was actually a painting of a fish, but I wanted it to be more cartoonish. And I've heard AI and with art how it can be kind of wonky, and it definitely missed the mark for sure. But how to use the tools and teaching the limits of them and how to give it the direction is the most important part. Because to say, type in, I did it a couple different ways, and one of them was make this a cartoon. And I mean, it did. It was terrible, but it did it. And so explaining and teaching the kids the students, how to instruct and how
Importance
to
of
inform
language.
importance of language and being
Language.
specific and parameters and all of that is so important, because this is a tool that is here and it's around. Artsonia, that's another thing that I think would be so cool to start K through 12. It could be a student's entire school career portfolio. And they could have it. And if it's a free tool, I think that would be such a cool opportunity to have. And then, I mean, as a parent, that would be wonderful, because I can't hang on to as much as I try, and my garage is bursting at the seams with art of 3 kids that are going through. But that would be an amazing tool. And then, just the idea of the students having an entire career portfolio. And then that's something they can, like you're saying, take on with them, or the parents can have, and whatever it may be. But I think that's a really cool thing. And I just want to also talk about the art projects that are around school is so amazing when we did the tours. I really love the geometric animals, and talk about art and math, where worlds collide. And people think, oh, well, I'm a math person, I'm not an art person, or I'm an art person and I'm creative, I'm not so much a math person. And really, there is so much overlap that I think we kind of label ourselves one thing or the other. And and don't fully appreciate our abilities. And so what you're doing and what you're doing in the math department as well, it really helps students see that they have the abilities to do more than one or to be more than the one that they thought they were. So thank you.
I would also like to add, Ryan, thank you so much for your yearly collaboration with AHA. I mean, providing the art as well as the social emotional learning is so powerful for middle school students. And the students absolutely rave about the work that they're doing in your classroom. So we really appreciate it. And I do believe the middle school has become an art gallery. It is just really amazing when you walk down those halls. I don't think I've ever been in a middle school quite like it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you and all your work. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, please, Angel.
Okay, so firstly, I had a couple of you guys as teachers, and I got to experience that, but my middle school years were kind of a blur since it was a mix of COVID and mix of in-person, and I didn't get to experience a lot of the stuff that you just presented. And as being a student leader in Carpinteria High School for the past 3.5 years almost now, the words and the emotions that are expressed from students that are coming in for the new waves of freshmen, they're always saying, wow, how good middle school was. And for me, I got a bit of an experience, but I never fully finished it. And, big part on you guys for getting those new students in there. And I believe Mr. Ethington was a new teacher when I first had him. So how much Mr. Ethington has grown, how much Ms. Foster and Ms. Hernandez have been able to keep up the good work. And like how Mr. Schaefer said, we've had 15 students be accepted Cal Poly. That's insane. That's insane. That's 10% of our graduating class, and that's really good. Since I was only able to have a couple of these, I didn't get the experience of some of your former and students that you have now, and they're so lucky that they're able to have this experience that the board is able to provide for these teachers, and these teachers are able to provide for the students. Such an amazing opportunity that for some students, they really need it. Yeah, like how Mrs. Diamond said, some people aren't an art people, and they're more of a math person. And some people aren't a math person, they're more an art person. How those two are able to collide and mix so well with how both of the departments are mixing. It's such an amazing opportunity for these students that I wish I had taken a part of that I never did, but it's really good, really good.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Angel. Okay. Thank you. I know that was a while. Good night, Orion. Definitely get home and have some dinner and get your homework done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Angel. And public comment E3 on our presentation.
Okay, so these teachers and their colleagues have been carrying the middle school for years, and that was really obvious in this presentation. Thanks to Orion and Jen and B and Ryan. They are a great reflection of a large group of exceptional colleagues at the middle school. It's great to hear what's working from those working directly with the students. And as usual, the details matter, and you can always count on a math or art teacher to do a great job drilling into those details. So this presentation showcased several positive characteristics in the math and art department. We hope district leadership didn't miss that such highly engaging instruction requires consistent access to some very basic supplies. These are the same supplies that have been requested and used for years. Consistent access to simple supplies like construction paper, glue, tape, writing and coloring utensils, pencil sharpeners, yarn, hangers, binders, and then maybe slightly more expensive supplies like the color printer, or which was removed at the start of the school year, or highly engaging tech tools that were spoken about this evening. When the district doesn't provide these supplies, teachers are left with two choices: to forego time-tested lessons that are proven to be highly engaging, or to sacrifice their personal savings to purchase the items themselves. And although teachers often continue to purchase the items in absence of those provided by the district, that is not a sustainable option. Given the increasingly uncompetitive salary values offered by the district, teachers' ability to pick up the slack in this area is becoming increasingly, or I should say decreasingly possible. Union leadership also wants to express its appreciation to Ms. Pursoon and Mr. Anderson. Setting aside Ms. Pursoon's August contract violations that have been advanced to an arbitration, and in truth, some candidly concerning communication habits, employees have appreciated the improvements the CMS principal has made, especially in regard to A, the cleanliness of the CMS campus and classrooms, and B, student discipline. C, the impact that these two improvements are having on students' ability to better focus in the academic environment. And you heard Ms. Foster speak to that directly when answering your question. These positive developments aren't a surprise to either CMS employees or union leadership. As shared with district officials on many occasions, employees have encouraged and requested administration to enforce school rules in a way that better supports a productive academic and behavioral environment. For years, employees and the union reps that represented them requested consistent enforcement of the dress code, more aggressive actions to prohibit the consumption of sugary drinks, caffeinated beverages, alcohol, tobacco, and drugs on campus. We requested more diligent monitoring of CMS bathrooms and cracking down on the rampant cell phone and social media use on campus. Employees and union leadership encouraged admin to hold students accountable when acting violently, profane, lewd, dangerously, and disrespectful. And for years, we consistently requested support when attempting to enforce the most basic standards in CMS's discipline policies. We even encouraged suspensions and expulsions against your will, Ms. Rigby, when students' behavior warranted it. So finally this year, much of that is happening. It's moving in the right direction, and it's having a positive impact.
Thank
So
you. Your
keep it
time
up.
is
Thank you.
up. Okay, moving on to Business Operations Facilities F1 warrants. The board is asked to approve the warrants for the period.
Excuse me,
Oh.
I have a presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right, that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, we have E4. Just kidding. One more.
yeah.
2024 to 2025 Superintendent Annual Goals, first reading. Board is asked to approve the first reading of the 24-25 Superintendent Annual Goals. The board is asked, let's see here, the 24-25 LCAP was approved in June 24. These are the annual goals developed with the approved LCAP, and I was looking right at it.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so every year at this time, I present the annual superintendent goals that were developed directly from the LCAP that was approved in June. The difference is tonight I have the CAF scores that we did not have in June when we were developing the LCAP. So if you turn to the first page, you'll see our 2024 CAF scores comparison to county and state. And you can see that for English language arts, half of our grades scored higher than the county and the state. And then for math, most of our grade levels are scoring higher than the county or state. And for English language arts and math for our subgroups, you can see that all of our subgroups scored better than the county and the state. And then for English language arts, again, it's about half of our subgroups. Now, our goal continues to be that we'd like at least 50% or more of our students to score at and above grade level on the state test. But I think it's really important to view these results in context of how most students perform, not only in our county, but in the state. The next slide shows in the past 5 years, although you'll recall that in 2019 and 2020 there's no data because of COVID. But this gives you a comparison in the last 5 years. And again, it's within the context of the county and statewide. But I think what is really interesting is the trend in that 5 years ago, we were close to 50%, and then COVID happened, and our scores were reduced. But you can see, just like the county and the state, we're climbing back up. And my prediction is that in the next few years, you'll see students performing in this district 50% or higher. And as well as for math. And you can see that consistently, we are outscoring our counterparts in Santa Barbara County and the state. We've also shared with you tonight the comparison by school, and these are the last 5 years. Again, I'll remind everybody that at the high school, the students don't take this testing seriously. What you really want to focus on as a district, or what we really focus on, is K-8. And we're looking for higher achievement as the students continue through the district at higher grades. And then the next slide indicates our population of economically disadvantaged. Now, the calculations for who's economically disadvantaged 5 years ago was based on free and reduced lunch. And then after COVID, we have an income survey that parents fill out. But while the county has stayed relatively stable, our district has moved from 61% poor to 70%. Looking at the percent of student population of English learners, the good news is that with our reclassification rates, as well as I believe that what's contributing is our decline in enrollment, is that we're seeing a decline in our population of English learners, although it does match statewide. Not for our county. We have fewer English learners than most districts in our county, but in statewide, it's similar. Now, this is a significant slide because it indicates that our student population, our students with disabilities, has significantly increased. And what you see for our trend is that while in the last 5 years we've had an enrollment decline of 11%, our SPED increase has been over 17%. So now, rather than having 12 or 13%, which is statewide average, our population of SPED students is 17%. Which is definitely correlates into the increase of SPED funding.
SPED expenditures.
I mean SPED expenditure, excuse me, yeah. The funding definitely is not keeping up.
No increase in funding.
No, it's definitely not keeping up. And then for our percentage of Hispanic students, that stayed relatively same, and it's pretty much a match with the county, but not statewide. Those are our students, and then we move into the goals that are from the LCAP. This was our first goal in the LCAP, so it continues to be the goal that we're working on district-wide. And on the left side, I've indicated the June 2024 performance and what our new goals are in the LCAP. So we were able to achieve our STAR reading goal at third grade. For most of our students are at the end of third grade. They should be at the beginning of fourth grade level. And then for CASP, again, our goal is 50%. We're still a little bit below, of course, at 43 and 40 for math, but we continue to strive for the 50% proficiency. And then we look at our subgroups. Our subgroups are not performing as well as we'd like them to on the statewide test. We do expect, and our goal is a 5% increase for each of our subgroups in each of the content areas and each grade level. And it really varies depending on the particular grade level where those increases are. At the school sites, they take this information and they look at, for each grade level, they look at the subgroups of the students, and they look at different programming and intervention to ensure that those students will make some progress on the statewide testing. And then the next slide indicates our expectations for students with disabilities, and they're not making the kind of increase that we would expect. And then we do expect that 70% of our students will achieve a 3.0 or higher for GPA. And we're close, but we're not there yet. So that's another area of focus at the middle school and high school. The next goal in LCAP was increasing the student engagement and participation in a positive school culture, in addition with working with partners. And so we use our data from the California Healthy Kids Survey in 3 areas. That's academic motivation, school connectedness, and school is a safe place. In June, the students reported, this is the percentage of students that reported that they were academically motivated, connected to school, and they believe that school is a safe place. And our goal is 90% or higher will report that they're motivated, they're connected, and 95% or higher should report that school is a safe place. And we've met some of those goals already in some of the grade levels, but our expectation is that all grade levels will meet those goals. The next area is more challenging, and this is related to our attendance, absenteeism, our dropout rate, and suspension expulsion. We do expect our daily attendance to be a lot higher. You heard earlier that I mentioned that last year our chronic absenteeism was 17.8%, and it should be less than 10%. So we're working intentionally with families at the elementary level to ensure that our students are in school every day. We have social workers at the high school. Our funding for social workers was eliminated for this year at the elementary level. But we do have counselors at the elementary level and mental health therapists, and so they also work with families and students who are chronically absent. These indicators are related to high school, and of course, we expect a 100% graduation rate. We're at 94%, 93.9, not close enough. So at the high school, we're implementing earlier meetings with seniors to ensure that they are making progress in their credits, juniors and seniors. We're close to meeting the A to G requirement percentage. We have high enrollment in AP honors and dual enrollment. CTE, we're getting close to meeting our goal. College and career ready, we're close to our goal. And with our with our DLI classes moving grade levels, we should see more and more of our students receiving the state seal of biliteracy. Our next goal is related to safe and clean facilities, and our students report that our schools are cleaned and well-maintained. We continue to expect that more than 95% of the students will report that. And then this is related to our Measure U projects. We expect to have started the Catalina Learning Center, the Aliso TK classrooms, and the feasibility studies. All should be completed this year with the exception of the Aliso TK and K classrooms. And then our next goal is related to budget, and our goal is to reduce the deficit spending and maintain fiscal sustainability. We have our end results of June 24, and we expect that we expect to be able to maintain fiscal sustainability for 2024-25. And the last goal is related to supervising and coaching our leadership team. So we have principals and special ed directors on the leadership team, and the expectation or our goal, my goal is to ensure that they meet and exceed our professional standards for educational leaders. I meet weekly with both the new principals and the special ed director to provide the coaching on the work that they're doing on a daily and weekly basis.
Okay.
So I know this isn't the first time you've seen this. This is, we've already approved the LCAP goals, and essentially these are the LCAP goals. But this is the requirement that I provide you with the annual goals every fall.
Any questions
No,
or comments?
I think we talked about a lot of this during
I guess
the
questions right now,
LCAP,
yeah.
but I don't have any questions.
I have a question. So, as we approach or meet or exceed goals, June would be when we reevaluate to change the goals?
Yes.
Okay.
May and June, yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's something we haven't had to discuss, and it's really nice to have to discuss
Yes,
that.
to say, yes, it's nice to see the performance, the progress closer to the goals.
I'm glad we
Yes.
didn't lower the bar.
Yes, we did not.
Let's see here. Chronic absenteeism, it is down, well, it's down from previous years. We need to get it lower. How much of this is our kids being held home sick more often than they used to, versus like, do we know if they're just straight up skipping school, or how do we balance that? Like understanding parents trying to take more responsibility for the health of their kids and recognizing that they shouldn't be sending kids to school sick. But then that can sometimes get lumped in.
Yes. So
So-
we collect data on the types of absences, and I can say with the discussions we have with the leadership team, the information that is shared, the evidence doesn't show that it's related to illnesses.
Okay, so these are just
And I don't want to say it's skipping school.
Okay.
I do want to acknowledge that some families are challenged in getting their students out of bed and to school.
okay.
And so that's the work that we do at the school site with administration and the counselors.
And I
That-
guess that's more of what I'm getting. Like,
Yes.
what is the core of this, and how can we support it instead of saying, well, we're going to have a counselor, we're going to have it, like, what? I mean, the counselor reaches out, and that is a huge part of it.
It's a little bit more than reaching out.
But-
They actually meet and set a plan.
They do.
For how they're going to assist the family.
Okay.
And we secure resources outside of school to help the families so that students can get to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm imagining just the percentages because it's a smaller percentage of those students. Are you able to share? Well, no, it's probably confidentiality, but what the types of resources are that these students are getting, or what they need to be able to get to school? What is the need?
Sure. So we have a really strong partnership with the Carpinteria Children's Project with the Family Resource Center. And they have been very active in assisting us with chronic absenteeism.
Okay. Okay. And then I had another one. College and career ready. What is the I'm guessing, so for our goals of like with CTE and enrollment in AP honors, dual enrollment, our percentage goals, is that like a state average, like a state level goal? Like where are we getting the 60% from as our goal? Like where did we come up with that?
Sure. So Gerardo and his leadership team, they look over the last year's, the last 5 years, the trends, and they're looking at increasing the enrollment.
Okay.
So if it was 2 years ago, 55%, they add 60%, and if they've met the goal.
Yeah.
So we pretty much add 5% as we increase, because yes, we expect more than half of our students will be participating in the honors classes, dual enrollment, as well as CTE program.
And where does that fit in with like state or county percentages, like enrollment in the programs?
Yes. 60% is typically.
It is. That's what I was
statewide.
kinda
Oh, is that
getting,
what you're trying to ask me?
yeah.
Oh, what the statewide average is?
Are we getting this from statewide average?
Well, we're
or
not getting
is
it from the statewide average because we'd like to do better than the state.
Got
But yes,
that.
right now, currently, the statewide average is around
Okay.
60%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Weren't we recognized for that recently?
For,
AP?
yes.
AP,
We
yes.
we were
That was the-
recognized for AP access for all students.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had increased access. Yes.
And participation, not just access, but access and participation. Okay, thank you. That's it for me. And then just double check. No other questions? Okay. We'll go to public comment and then board discussion. Public comment on the 24-25 annual superintendent goals. Please step up to the podium at this time.
Alrighty, so thanks for all the data, Superintendent Rigby, and for the brief discussion from our board members. One question before making any of the comments. Were the charts and figures created by an external party or by our own district administrators, the ones contained in your PowerPoint?
Mari Hornbeck.
Thank you.
We couldn't do it without her.
Thank you.
I'd like to acknowledge her. Thank you for bringing that up. She is fabulous, and she is our student assessment data coordinator and provides all the information for us.
And she answers only to Ms. Rigby, just to make that clear. One of the details that came out earlier in the year was the discrepancy between the district's internal metrics of student achievement, such as grades and GPAs or honor roll statistics, and the external metrics of student achievement, such as the CASP, which you specifically chose to base much of your presentation on, the CASP, or say, for example, the STAR, or the LPAC, or the ACT, or the SAT, or the Healthy Kids Survey, which there's very slight reference to that in your presentation, or student enrollment data, or human resources employment data, or student behavioral and disciplinary data, all which are missing from the presentation, little to none of which are contained in the presentation. We have yet to hear a thorough explanation for what accounts for those discrepancies between the district's internal data that you produced, or Ms. Hornbeck has produced on your behalf, and the external state and county data that conflicts with that internal data. Maybe you could also explain this evening why you chose not to use some of those other data metrics to inform your slides in your presentation.
I think
Hang
I
on.
introduced
No,
this.
hold on.
Okay.
Please continue with your public comment.
Thank
in
you.
2 minutes.
Okay. When we look at slide 3, we are generally slightly higher than the county and even more so lower than the state. English language arts achievement comparison. Math, we have much to be proud of in this area. We are generally much higher than the county and slightly higher than the state. English language arts achievement comparison by schools is really telling. Perhaps it's worth noting that the 2 schools where educators have the most autonomy to design their own instruction and influence the academic and behavioral culture on campus actually have the highest achievement data. That would be CFS and Summerland. This strongly supports the concept that employee influence on the daily operations of the district and its mission bring great value to the teaching and learning environment. Educators don't need to be told what to do by an autocratic hand in our leadership. They need support in the form of resources such as time, access to materials, basic supplies, and yes, shared decision making, versus micromanaging top-down directives from those who are the furthest from the classroom and the students, or who refuse to even meet with their elected employee representatives who share employee experiences, concerns, and questions.
Thank you. Your time
Lots
is
more to
up.
add. We'll have to do that another day. Thank you.
Any further public comment on annual superintendent goals? Okay, seeing none, may I get a motion to approve the first reading?
I so move.
I'll second.
And now is discussion. Any discussion from the board? Okay. I'm just going to reiterate that these are the goals. The goals were pulled from the LCAP that was approved back in June, which has much more information and metrics. I went through it as ahead of time to compare back and forth between, yeah, just stating that.
If we achieve a goal, like we have here in enrollment in AP or dual enrollment, or in college, being college and career ready, is there any reason why we wouldn't want to bump that up a little bit?
Yeah, that's what.
That's a
we did that in
discussion that
June.
we had at the leadership team.
Yeah.
And we want to see at least two years of it
2 years,
before
yeah,
we
yeah.
make another goal. So that's what our discussion was about. Yes.
So we would get that information at the end
Yes.
of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then introduce new goals
yeah.
in June.
But you're
LCAP,
absolutely right.
yeah.
You're on point. Yes, typically that's what we do, but we'd like to see, especially in the high school
Yeah.
area, they wanted to see 2 years of making those goals.
Any other comments or discussion?
No, not for me.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second, we've had discussion, all in favor? Aye. Now, moving on to F1 warrants. The board is asked to approve the warrants for the period of October 4th, 2024 through October 17th, 2024 in the amount of $1,146,742.38. Warrants are issued once a week on Thursdays. The report format shows check number, check date, payee, brief account description, payment comment, and check amount. Any questions from the board? Sorry, I'm just pulling up the attachment. Okay. And public comment on F1 warrants. Please step up to the podium at this time. Okay. Seeing none, may I get a motion to approve F1 warrants?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, personnel summary. The board is asked to approve the following recommended personnel items. 1, personnel resignation. Any questions from the board? Okay. Public comment on G1, personnel summary. Please come to the podium at this time.
Okay, so this evening we see another resignation in the special education department, somewhat emblematic of the challenges we're having maintaining employees in the area of special ed operations. It is true that some of this is a historic trend, but that does not take into account the variety of enhancements that accepting employment in this unique and lovely beach town provide those from across the country who are looking to move this way. And although there is a shred of truth that this is a historic trend, much of the CUSD's challenges has to do with the management of the SPED program under Ms. Rigby and the conditions she has fostered, the refusal to acknowledge and get in front of the extraordinary workload issues, and the refusal to listen to special education teachers who have offered realistic solutions for improving the current SPED dysfunction to be utterly dismissed. Again, CUSD rejected without any explanation over 40 proposed contract improvements designed to help CUSD rebuild the program in a more effective manner to maintain the labor force, to pay them more, even more than the rest of their colleagues, because we recognize the unique work that special educators do. And again, we have suffered extraordinary transiency across the district. The majority of those 14 special education teachers and a special education director who left the CUSD in the last year, they did not go to outside contracting firms, as Ms. Rigby told you at the last meeting. They went to other districts in the region. The idea is laughable that she's telling you that these folks have headed off to make a considerable amount more money with contracting firms. It's untrue. It's not honest, and it's not accurate. A bit earlier this evening, we shared continued concerns about matters in room number 6, much of which are impacted by the personnel challenges just described that CUSD exacerbates for itself when it fails to reach good faith salary agreements with employees, while giving administrators 2 salary increases during the period that district officials have refused to reach that agreement. Is that an attractive environment to new special education teachers and instructional aides? I bet you can answer that question. The union shared this evening that the district has tried to resolve, or that the district has not resolved, the permanent teacher in room 6 issue. And Ms. Diamond, you then said, well, didn't we meet one? Yes, you met a teacher, but she's not a permanent teacher in that classroom. If she was, it would be reflected in the personnel report, either the last personnel report or this personnel report, and it would be reflected as a reassignment. What you met, or who you met, was a teacher who was pulled from another special education classroom to be there when the board came through, to shake hands and look like, there was somebody there. But in doing that, not only has the teacher not been made permanent, but there's now a hole in another area of special education in the district, albeit a smaller hole than the huge gaping one that is Catalino's Room 6. So you really need to think twice and question the kind of
Thank you. Your
information you're
time
getting
is
from the
up.
superintendent. Okay, thank you.
Any further public comment on G1 personnel summary? Okay. Seeing none, may I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. H, future agenda items. We'll have our solar update for the high school, our SIPSA, single plans for student achievement reports, or presentations, our revised 24-25 budget, that's in December. And yeah. Does anyone on the board have anything to add for future agenda items?
No, I don't.
Okay. Public comment on H, future agenda items.
Okay, future agenda items. Last week during the approval, I'm not even going to get into that. For several now board meetings, we have asked that the district place remuneration on the district agenda to be looked at. What is that? Let us explain again, because it does not seem that the district has given it much thought. We're talking about providing some kind of compensation, open, transparent compensation to district board members. Again, you may find that strange that given our concerns about your performance that we're suggesting that we give you compensation, but what we're here and what we see and what we know now is that from the moment the compensation was removed for board members, the performance of our board members has suffered. And even more so, the differentiation and variety of our board members' experiences in the community has also narrowed tremendously. So it really would be a good thing to see how can we actually bring more opinions instead of shaking your head and saying no and kind of pouting over there. It might be better to think about what can we do to bring more inclusivity into the decision-making process in the district. This board simply does not reflect the majority of students in the district, and I think you know that. The community knows that, and there's concern. Another just slight connection before I'm stepping down. Could you also please bring back that human resources PowerPoint from the last meeting? Give us another chance to look at that again. There was an interesting slide that talked about the ethnic and racial makeup of the kids in our district, and it seems odd. There was no mention, no real discussion around it. But why would that be relevant to the human resources presentation and not be relevant when we're talking about the economic, racial, and ethnic diversity of people in our school board? You all chose to put that information in front of the community, not explain the value of it, but then you also choose to laugh and sneer when we bring up the idea that there needs to be more variety on the school board to reflect the actual people we serve. So maybe you can answer that question. And please maybe bring back that human resources presentation. We have a lot more questions about that. Thank you.
Okay. Board calendar. Let's see here. Do we have anything coming up between now and the next board meeting? Any ancillary school tour? We don't have anything coming up in between now and then. Okay, thank you. Board announcements. About board announcements. Anybody?
FFA barbecue. I'm sticking to the November 9th date. So, for those of you that have experienced it before, it is some of the best tri-tip, best Spanish rice and beans you'll get, and the value is really good. So contact your closest FFA member or Miss Garcia at the high school. And I think tickets are on sale now. And they will be able to confirm the date, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be November 9th. It's on my calendar.
Okay. I'm sure Parent Square will go out.
Yes.
And I'll just throw it out there again that Carpinteria Education Foundation is sponsoring Carpet Cabuna at the high school on Saturday night. and we would love to have all of you come and enjoy the great food from Omni Catering, and I can guarantee there's some really fabulous auction items.
Absolutely. I will add to that with between now and the next board meeting, there will most likely be a couple of the Coffee with Principals. So keep your eye out at Parent Square for your school site. Coffee with a Principal is it's an amazing opportunity to meet with principal and teachers, and parents. There are sometimes teachers or other staff that are able to pop in. It's one more opportunity to provide input and hear about what is going on at your school site. Typically, the principals kind of pick a general theme for the meeting, but a lot of times it really is led by what the parents are asking. Family Math Night at Canalino on Thursday, very excited for that. November 2nd is a salute to teachers brought on by Cox. And our own Noe Gomez will be honored. And I'm so excited for that. So, again, we've mentioned this before, but again, congratulations to Noe. And very excited for the opportunity for him to be honored on November 2nd. And then November 5th, Election Day, high school students. This is, for many of you, this will be, well, I'm assuming all the high school students. It'll be their first opportunity, if they are able to vote, if they're 18 at the time, to do so. So please be sure to register and encourage your friends to register and get out there and rock the vote. And what else? Yeah, the barbecue. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something else coming up, but
Okay, I got to
anyway.
say one more thing. Just remembered this one. I want to thank the Girls and Boys Club. Recently, I attended an event next door that was the dedication of their innovation lab, and there was a young man that spoke who used to play for a professional basketball team, and he was dynamic, and he has written this book that's especially for students, and he had signed and given a book to all the boys and girls that had attended this event. And I suggested to him later that he needed to be a teacher because he had those kids spellbound, and they listened for about 45 minutes and never made a noise. It was pretty impressive. So wonderful program over there at the Boys and Girls Club.
I know what it was. So the school tours, a recap. We went on school tours 2 weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And it was really great to see the classrooms, see the students doing what they do, see the teachers doing what they do. Seeing the difference year over year in each of the school sites, seeing huge transformation at the middle school. I really just want to highlight that. The general demeanor on campus is remarkably different, and so very, very happy for what we have going on, and it'll be great to see the difference from now and then again in the spring, summer when we get to do it again. So great job, everybody there. And with that, nothing else. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.